Have you ever wondered why some couples seem to walk through life hand in hand, steady and strong, while others stumble, even after decades together? Is it just luck, or is there a secret to staying balanced not just physically, but emotionally in a long-term relationship? Today, I'm sharing a deeply personal story, inspired by a top doctor's advice on the best walking techniques to prevent falls, but with a twist. We're talking about how to walk together in love, keeping your emotional connection as steady as your steps. At 78, I've learned a thing or two about keeping a marriage alive through life's ups and downs, and I promise you, what you're about to hear will change the way you see your relationship forever. You'll discover how small, intentional steps, both physical and emotional, can prevent the falls that break trust and intimacy. You'll learn the biggest mistake couples make that leads to emotional stumbles, and 3 simple habits that can keep your love steady, no matter your age. Partner, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I encourage you to click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated on all our latest content. Your support means a lot, so if you find value in this video, please give it a thumbs up to help spread our message. I'm eager to hear your thoughts on today's topic. If you enjoyed the content, please comment number 1 below. If it doesn't resonate with you, leave a 0. Your feedback is crucial as it helps me create better videos that align with your interests. Now let's get started. Let me take you back to a moment that changed how I saw my marriage. My husband, Tom, and I have been married for 52 years. We've raised 3 kids, weathered job losses, health scares, and more moves than I care to count. But a few years ago, something happened that shook me. We were walking in our neighborhood, just like we did every evening. Tom was telling me about his day, and I was half listening, thinking about dinner. Suddenly, he tripped on a crack in the sidewalk. I reached out, but he caught himself just barely. My heart raced, not just because he almost fell, but because I realized I hadn't been paying attention. I wasn't there for him, not really. That moment felt like a wake-up call, not just about watching where we step, but about how we walk through life together. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about how easy it is to take our partners for granted, to assume they'll always be there, steady as ever. But just like a physical fall, emotional stumbles in a relationship can happen when we're not looking. I started reading about preventing falls, yes, the physical kind, because, at our age, a fall can change everything. A top doctor explained that falls often happen because we stop being mindful of our steps. We get distracted, we rush, or we assume we're stronger than we are. And it hit me, the same is true in love. The falls that hurt our relationships, those moments of disconnection, resentment, or fading intimacy, happen when we stop being mindful of each other. Let's talk about why these emotional falls happen in long-term relationships. For many couples, especially after 50, life gets in the way. You're juggling health issues, grandkids, maybe even caring for aging parents. You're tired, and it's easy to assume your partner knows you love them, so you stop showing it. But here's the truth, love doesn't survive on autopilot. Just like walking requires balance and attention, so does intimacy. And I'm not just talking about physical intimacy, though that's part of it. I'm talking about the deep emotional connection that makes you feel safe, seen, and cherished. Take my friend Clara, for example. She's 82, sharp as a tack, and married to her high school sweetheart, Ed, for 60 years. A few years back, Clara noticed Ed was pulling away. He'd sit in his recliner, scrolling on his phone, barely talking. Their evening walks, once full of laughter, became silent. Clara thought maybe it was just age, maybe they'd run out of things to say. But one day, Ed slipped on some wet leaves during their walk. Clara grabbed his arm, and he looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time in months. "I'm sorry," he said. "I've been so caught up in my own head, I forgot how much I need you." That fall woke them both up. They started talking again, really talking, and their connection came back stronger than ever. The doctor I mentioned earlier said falls happen for 3 main reasons: lack of awareness, weak balance, and not adapting to changes in our bodies. In relationships, it's the same. First, we lose awareness. We stop noticing the little things, like how our partner's smile fades when we're distracted. Second, our emotional balance weakens. We stop investing in the small gestures that keep love steady, like a kind word or a gentle touch. And third, we don't adapt to change. As we age, our needs shift. What made your partner feel loved at 30 might not work at 70. If you're not paying attention, you're setting yourselves up for a fall. Now, I know what you're thinking, this all sounds nice, but how do we actually prevent these falls? That's where the doctor's walking techniques come in, and I'm going to translate them into 3 practical habits for your relationship. These are small, doable steps that can make a big difference, whether you've been together 5 years or 50. First, walk with intention. The doctor said the best way to prevent falls is to be mindful of every step. Don't rush, don't multitask, just focus on where you're going. In your relationship, this means being fully present. When was the last time you really listened to your partner, without checking your phone or thinking about your to-do list? I'll confess, I used to nod along while Tom talked, but my mind was elsewhere. After his near fall, I made a change. Now, when we walk, I put my phone away. I ask him about his day and really listen. Sometimes, I'll slip my hand into his, just because. Those moments make him feel seen, and let me tell you, they've brought us closer than ever. Try this, tonight, when you're with your partner, give them your full attention for just 10 minutes. Ask them something simple, like, what's been on your mind lately? Then listen, no interrupting, no fixing. You'd be surprised how much this small act can rebuild trust. It's like taking slow, careful steps to steady your balance. Second, strengthen your core. The doctor explained that a strong core, your abs, back, and hips helps you stay upright. In a relationship, your emotional core is built on small, consistent acts of care. These aren't grand gestures, like a fancy vacation. They're the little things, bringing your partner coffee in bed, thanking them for doing the dishes, or telling them they still make your heart skip a beat. For Tom and me, it's our morning routine. I make the coffee, and he sets out the mugs. It's nothing big, but it's our way of saying, I'm here for you. Those daily habits are like planks or squats for your relationship. They keep your connection strong. Here's a tip, pick one small thing you can do every day to make your partner feel loved. Maybe it's a quick hug before you leave the house or a note that says, I'm thinking of you. Do it consistently for a week, and watch how it changes the way they look at you. It's like building muscle. You don't see results overnight, but over time, you're stronger together. Third, adapt to the terrain. The doctor said older adults need to adjust their walking based on the surface, gravel, ice, or uneven sidewalks. In love, this means recognizing that your relationship changes as you age. What worked in your 20s or 40s might not work now. Maybe your partner needs more reassurance, or maybe they crave quiet time together instead of big outings. For Tom and me, intimacy used to mean stolen moments between kids and work. Now, it's about sitting on the porch, sharing a glass of wine, and talking about our dreams. It's different, but it's just as deep. Try this, have an honest conversation with your partner about what makes them feel loved today. Just say, what's one thing I can do to make you feel closer to me? Then listen and act on it. It's like switching to sturdy shoes for a rocky path that keeps you both steady. These habits, walking with intention, strengthening your core, and adapting to the terrain, aren't just about preventing physical falls. They're about keeping your emotional connection strong, so you and your partner can walk through life without stumbling. When you're mindful, consistent, and adaptable, you create a relationship where intimacy flows naturally, not because you're trying hard, but because you're truly connected. Let me share one more story. My neighbor, Helen, is 89 and widowed now, but she and her husband, George, were inseparable for 65 years. Helen told me their secret was their daily walks. Rain or shine, they'd stroll around the block, holding hands, talking about everything and nothing. Those walks weren't just exercise, they were their time to connect, to laugh, to dream. Even when George's health declined, they'd sit on their porch and walk through memories together. Helen said those moments kept their love alive, even through the hardest times. That's what walking together physically and emotionally can do. Now, let's talk about the biggest mistake couples make that leads to these emotional falls. It's not arguing or neglecting each other, it's assuming love takes care of itself. Just like you can't assume your body will stay strong without exercise, you can't assume your relationship will thrive without effort. I see it all the time. Couples who've been together for decades start coasting. They stop checking in, stop surprising each other, stop noticing the little things. And slowly, without realizing it, they drift apart. The spark fades, not because they don't love each other, but because they've stopped walking together with purpose. I'll be honest, Tom and I fell into this trap. About 10 years ago, we were so caught up in our routines, work, kids, grandkids, that we stopped making time for each other. Our walks became errands, not moments to connect. I'd be thinking about groceries, and he'd be worrying about bills. One day, I caught him looking at me with this sad, faraway expression. "What's wrong?" I asked. He sighed and said, "I miss us." It broke my heart, because he was right. We were still together, but we weren't really walking side by side anymore. That's when we decided to change, and those 3 habits I shared, being present, building small acts of care, and adapting, brought us back. So, why does this matter? Because emotional falls don't just hurt your relationship, they hurt your health, too. The doctor I mentioned said loneliness and disconnection increase the risk of physical falls by making us less focused, less steady. And in a relationship, emotional disconnection does the same. When you feel distant from your partner, you're more likely to feel anxious, distracted, or even depressed. But when you're connected, you're stronger physically and emotionally. You're less likely to stumble, because you've got someone holding your hand. Let's dive deeper into how these habits work in real life. Take the first one, walking with intention. This isn't just about listening, it's about showing your partner they matter. I have a friend, Margaret, who's 74. She and her husband, Ray, were struggling a few years back. Ray was retired and spending all his time on golf, while Margaret felt invisible. One evening, she asked him to join her for a walk. He grumbled but went along. Instead of staying silent, Margaret opened up. "I miss feeling like we're a team," she said. Ray was quiet at first, but then he admitted he'd been feeling lost since retiring. That walk turned into a nightly ritual, and now they talk about everything: plans, fears, even silly memories. Margaret says it's like they're dating again. All it took was one intentional step. The second habit, strengthening your core, sounds simple, but it's powerful. Think about Clara and Ed, the couple I mentioned earlier. After Ed's slip on those wet leaves, Clara realized she'd stopped doing the little things that made him feel loved. She started leaving notes in his lunch, complimenting his goofy jokes, even holding his hand when they watched TV. Those tiny gestures rebuilt their connection. Ed started responding, too. He'd surprise her with flowers or tell her stories from their early days. It wasn't about big changes, it was about consistent, small deposits of love that made them both feel secure. And the third habit, adapting to the terrain, is where so many couples get stuck. As we age, our bodies change, and so do our emotional needs. I'll share something personal. In our 40s, Tom and I were all about adventure, road trips, dancing, staying up late. But now, at 78, we crave quieter moments. Intimacy for us isn't about passion in the way it used to be, it's about feeling close, whether that's cuddling on the couch or laughing over old photos. It took us a while to figure that out, because we were holding on to what love looked like 30 years ago. Once we adapted, we found a new kind of closeness that's just as beautiful. Here's another example. My cousin Betty, who's 85, told me about her and her late husband, Frank. In their later years, Frank had arthritis, so their walks became slow strolls around the garden. But Betty made those moments special. She'd point out flowers, tell Frank stories, or just sit with him in silence, holding his hand. She adapted to his limitations, and it deepened their bond. Betty said, "It wasn't about how far we walked, it was about being together." That's the kind of love that lasts. Now, I want to address something directly. Some of you might be thinking, "This sounds great, but my partner's not interested anymore." Or maybe you feel like the spark is gone, and you don't know how to get it back. I hear you, and I've been there. The truth is, rebuilding connection starts with one person taking the first step. You don't need your partner to be on board right away. Start small, try one of those habits I mentioned. Be present, show a little kindness, or ask what they need to feel loved. Sometimes, your effort is enough to wake them up, just like Tom's near fall woke me up. And here's the beautiful part, these habits don't just prevent emotional falls, they reignite intimacy. When you make your partner feel seen and cherished, they start to respond. Maybe it's a warmer smile, a longer hug, or even a spark of that old passion. I've seen it with Tom and me, with Clara and Ed, with so many couples. It's not about being young or perfect, it's about showing up, day after day, with love. Before we wrap up, let's tie this back to the doctor's advice. Preventing physical falls is about mindfulness, strength, and adaptability. Preventing emotional falls is the same. Every time you choose to be present, to offer a kind gesture, or to adapt to your partner's changing needs, you're taking a step toward a stronger, more intimate relationship. And just like a daily walk keeps your body steady, these habits keep your love steady, too. So, here's my challenge to you, try one of these habits today. Maybe it's taking a walk with your partner and really listening. Maybe it's leaving a sweet note or asking what makes them feel loved. Whatever it is, do it with intention, and do it consistently. You'll be amazed at how these small steps can transform your relationship, making you feel closer, safer, and more connected than ever. I want to leave you with one final thought. Love, at its core, is about walking together through the smooth paths and the rocky ones, through the sunny days and the storms. It's about holding each other up, so neither of you falls. At 78, I can tell you this, the couples who last aren't the ones who never stumble. They're the ones who learn how to catch each other, again and again. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What's one small thing you can do today to make your partner feel truly seen? Drop a comment below, I read every one, and your stories inspire me. If this video touched your heart or gave you a new perspective, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content to help you build a love that lasts. Thank you for being here, for walking this journey with me. Let's keep taking those steps together. See you in the next one.